So you guys are probably aware of the Five Nights at Freddy's drama that's going around at the moment. I thought about making a video on this at the weekend, but that's not normally when I upload. So I thought I'd take a look at the broader community's reaction to this stuff rather than just reporting on what the creator of the game did with his political donations. But of course, we're going to go through all that stuff anyway, just to show you guys who are not familiar with this stuff what is going on right now. So we're going to look at his donations and then look at his statement defending donations, talk about why it's a rubbish, apology if he's even trying to apologize. And then we're going to look at how the community reacted. He's big on Reddit, so we're going to look at the Five Night at Freddy's subreddit, because surprise, surprise, a lot of people have differences of opinions on this stuff, but a lot of people who had more harsh words for him were basically downvoted into oblivion, while everyone who was forgiving him and saying it's not a big deal were all upvoted. So it shows there is a big difference among the community, but the main thing I think it also shows is a lot of them don't actually care what he did. But before we get any further, a lot of my work on this channel is demonetized because when you're covering more serious, sometimes edgier topics, YouTube doesn't like this. So if you've ever enjoyed my work, please consider becoming a patron. And you don't have to pledge a crazy amount. I want to build up my Patreon based on as many people as possible pledging little amounts, like $1 or $2. So if you feel like I have ever brought anything that's worthwhile into your life and my content, please really consider becoming a patron to help me continue to do this regardless of if YouTube monetize or not most of my videos in a given month. Also, if you want to join our communities, come check out our Discord and my subreddit. Those links in the description. And if you want to follow me personally, please check out the Karanicholas at Twitter, at Instagram, and also my personal Reddit, where you can keep up to date with all my content and what I'm doing. We're so close to 35k. I think we need 100 more subs to go. Was hoping to hit it last week. I feel like we're definitely going to hit it this week, so help me get there. Help me get another chocolate orange. I'm going to have to go out and buy one because I don't have another one handy. Also, I live stream 2 times a week. Hopefully I do 2 more this week, and I upload them on the Karanicholas Extra, my second channel. I need to upload last Thursday's stream. People have been asking for that, but yeah, hopefully I'll get them all up. So subscribe to my second channel to keep up with all my streams. So Five Nights at Freddy's was a popular game and is a popular series of games. And I think they came out around 2014-15, and it spawned like this massive fandom. It spawned like songs, novels. It's still very popular. Like I typed in Five Nights at Freddy's, and even just a day ago, the game theorists had a game theory, Five Nights at Freddy's Return to the Pit, 2 million views. So this game and this franchise is still very, very popular. There's also a lot of like furry adjacent stuff because people have told me there's a lot of furries in the community. People have also said there's a lot of LGBT people in the community as well. And this game was created by Scott Cawthon. I hope I'm saying that right. I haven't really heard about this guy before. But basically the drama is this guy has been exposed for donating a lot of money to the Republican Party, including Donald Trump's run for president in 2020. And of course, this isn't just a guy having a difference of opinion, like he doesn't believe one thing and he keeps it fairly private. This is him actually going out of his way to help ensure some of the most hateful, bigoted politicians in the United States win their re-election. So let's have a look at who he funded. So at I Am Griffinir tweeted, turns out Scott Cawthon, well known as the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's and less known as being a Christian fundamentalist, maxed out his political donations to Republican candidates and PACs in 2020. So I'm just going to throw these up on screen for you quick. So he has a 2015 $2,500 donation to Ben Carson, who was, of course, running for president. And just keep this in mind when he talks about supporting, like, minority, like black candidates and stuff. And Carson was obviously, not fit for being president. Also wasn't fit for being, I think, the HUD director, which he actually became during the Trump administration. And then other notable things you have the National Republican Senatorial Committee, $2,500, and that is in August 2020. Another one is Devin Nunes, who, of course, is one of the most awful Republicans. Skip a couple, you have Mitch McConnell, $5,000 for him. So a guy who single-handedly has basically blocked the Democrats ever doing anything progressive when he had his Republican majority. Corey Gardner is another $2,800. Kevin McCarthy, isn't he the minority leader? $900. And Donald Trump, $2,000. And here's another notable one. Tulsi Gabbard, $2,500. So keep Ben Carson and Tulsi Gabbard in mind when we talk about his apology. Now, I've made a series of videos on why right-wingers like Tulsi Gabbard, she says she's anti-war, she's actually anti-interventionist because she doesn't like wasting, as she sees it, American lives and foreign interventions. And a lot of people who are very far right like her for this. Also helps that recently she's come out with comments against the LGBT community as well on Twitter, particularly trans people. And she's been a regular on Fox News, railing against what she feels Islamicism. And she's also a big supporter of Modi in India and was an advocate for him coming to the US when he was actually banned for his role in the Gujarat riots, I think in 2002. So she's no liberal leftist. The only position she sometimes has is she's anti-interventionist. So keep that in mind. It's the one Democrat on that list. And it's not surprising, but he's going to try and use Ben Carson and Tulsi Gabbard to prove that he's pro-equality and stuff. So after there was a massive backlash on Twitter and on Reddit, he comes out and the mods pinned his statement on the 5-night at Freddy's Reddit. So my response, or maybe my last post, loads of awards. So he says, this message isn't specifically directed at the Reddit community. This is just the community that I care about the most, where I choose to post these things. I never cared much for Twitter anyway. To say that the last few days have been surreal would be an understatement. I've debated greatly how best to address this, including not addressing it at all. But with so many people from the LGBT community and the fan base that I love, that's not an option. I'd like to think that the last 7 years would have given me the benefit of the doubt in regards to how I try to treat people. But there I was, trending on Twitter for being homophobe, getting doxxed with people threatening to come to my house. My wife is 6 weeks pregnant and she spent last night in fear because of what was being said online. She's already been struggling with her pregnancy, so seeing her so afraid really scared me. All this because I exercise my right and my duty, your duty to donate to some of the worst politicians in America, as an American citizen to vote for and support the candidates who I felt could best run this country for everyone, and that's something that I won't apologise for. So, not apologising for funding Kevin McCarthy, Trump, McConnell, Nunes. So let's go on. For those of you who took the time to look, you saw that the candidates I support included men, women, white people, black people, Republicans, and Democrats. So because he basically supported Ben Carson for president in 2015 and gave some money to Tulsi Gabbard, who has had, well-known bigoted statements, then somehow he's, very diverse in his political donations. So I supported Kimberly Klasich in Baltimore because I believe that she really cared for the African-American community there and wanted to pull them out of poverty. I believe she could have really made a difference at a time when so many black communities were struggling. She lost, unfortunately. I supported Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat, even though I disagreed with her on several issues because I felt she would have been a good and fair president. And yes, I supported President Trump because I felt like he was the best man to fuel a strong economy and stand up to America's enemies abroad, of which there are many. Even if there were candidates who had better things to say about the LGBT community directly and bigger promises to make, I believe that their stances on other issues would have ended up doing much greater harm to those communities than good. So this makes absolutely no sense, and it's crazy he's not apologising. He's basically saying that Donald Trump is a better vote for the LGBT community than someone like Joe Biden. Now, I don't think Joe Biden is a great, advocate for the LGBT community, but he even, spoke about trans people in his campaign. That's something the Labour Party in the UK, because they're so bad, they won't touch stuff like that. So Joe Biden obviously said that, and Trump banned trans people from serving in the military. And then you're going to fund his campaign again, and you're acting like that is somehow better for them. And of course, the Republicans are the ones passing all these anti-trans bills in America at the moment. And you're trying to say that Donald Trump would have made that better. All this explanation, I fear, is wasted as people don't want to discuss with one another anymore. They want endless apologies and submission. People who are expecting those from me will get neither. I've always been supportive of creators and have tried to treat everyone fairly and treat everyone with dignity and respect. I've never cared about anyone's race, religion, gender, or orientation, and that kind of shows with the horrible Republicans he supports. I just treat people as people, everyone the same, and because of that, I've ended up with a very diverse group of people that I've worked with over the years. It wasn't intentional, it just happened that way. I chose people who are the best for the job, I treat everyone the same, and I ended up with people from all walks of life in my professional life and my personal life as well. That's the way it should be, and that's the way I want it to be, that's the way I will continue. I'm a Republican, Christian, pro-life, and I believe in God. I also believe in equality and in science and in common sense. Despite what some might say, all those things can go together. That's not an apology or promise to change, it's the way I've always been. As an atheist, of course, I don't really believe that religion and science go together, but plenty of religious people have made great breakthroughs in science. It's more the funny part is he's saying he believes in science and equality while funding mostly candidates who do not believe in those things. Donald Trump does not believe in science. Republicans, even if they believe in science or don't, advocate an anti-science agenda in most of their policies. So you can't say you support equality and science when you nearly exclusively directly fund the campaigns of people who do not believe in those things. It just makes you seem like you're trying to make excuses. So he says, if I get cancelled, then I get cancelled. I don't do this for money. I do it because I enjoy it. If people think I'm doing more harm than good, then maybe it's better that I get cancelled and retire. I would accept that. I've had a fulfilling career. Besides, most things that people can take from you are things that never had much value to begin with. I've always loved this community and will continue to love this community and this fan base, even if someday doesn't include me anymore. So as apologies go, or non-apologies go, that is probably one of the worst ones because it makes, totally no sense. If you really have such a diverse group of friends in your personal life and your work life, I don't think many of them would appreciate seeing what political parties and people you fund. I certainly think that not only supporting these, but actively funding them is showing that you really don't care about equality. Donald Trump is not even subtle. He's totally brazen. He's not like a Boris Johnson who pretends to care about equality and diversity, but secretly doesn't like those things. Donald Trump was so explicit about it. The GOP are so explicit about it. They don't care. And they make it part of their policies that they don't care. So to even suggest you can care about those things while donating to people who on a national level, who can actually make people's lives worse and are making people's lives worse as a matter of policy, it's just total hypocrisy from you. I don't know if this guy can even understand that. He says he wants to have a discussion about this. Well, if me and him had a discussion, how do you think he would be able to defend that? You say you're for equality, but donate to people who can in a very real way, make people's lives worse if they're not white, straight, men and women. And even though I mentioned women, of course, these guys attack women's rights all the time as well. So, of course, the thread was a total mess. So one of the mods posted, a sticky comment that said, the post will be locked now since both sides cannot control themselves and I'm breaking the rules left and right. As always, the discussion of this is not allowed in the subreddit. You're free to think whatever about the situation, but keep talking about it in the DMs and not here. We're given enough time. Hopefully people aren't going to claim we're censoring anyone or tell us to go die again. So I'm going to read all the upvoted comments because they dominate this discussion. Someone saying, we love you. Someone saying, Scott, we will never abandon you. You did so many amazing things and you've changed all our lives. You're an incredible human being and your political views don't change that. We love you and good luck to you and your family with the baby. I think someone's political views are just a reflection of their personality, and I think that is the case for nearly everyone. Someone else saying, Twitter was a mistake. Someone replied, so many people who I follow and stuff are really upset Scott, and I just straight up unfollowed them because I really don't get how, with his beliefs and how he donated, however much of his Republicans would still invalidate everything good he has done the last few years. Some even saying to stop financially supporting him because of his crappy response he put out. I think that's a totally fair thing. But again, this has 200 upvotes, so it's clear the community are on board with this somewhat. Also, this game looks like total garbage. Like, no offense to people who like it. I really don't understand the hype for it and this cult of personality. Like, I like Hideo Kojima a lot and I really like his games. If it turned out he was funding like far-right Japanese politicians, I wouldn't like him anymore, and you can still enjoy his games and not like the person, but these guys seem to think you have to like the person because you like his games. You can separate art from the artist. Or someone else saying, man, I have no words to the shit that happened. They actually threatened his whole family. Of course, that's an awful thing, and I'm not advocating that at all. And now he's thinking about retiring. I'm disgusted by the fan base. He's human just like us, a human with emotions and a family to take care of, especially his wife right now. And thanks to some people, they've actually managed to make her that much worried. Jesus Christ, I'm not surprised at this. This all came from Twitter. He never wanted to hurt groups of people, never. But because some people react like arseholes before waiting for an official response by Scott, we ended up like this. And he's actually thinking about retiring. We don't deserve someone like Scott. He actually doesn't want to interact with us anymore. I would totally get it. So these people are so brainwashed and so ridiculous. How can he have never wanted to hurt certain groups, but directly funds the campaigns of the political party that are doing the most damage to minority groups, including LGBT people. So another 1.21, we love you, you changed my life. Literally, I do not understand this cult around this game. Can someone please explain it to me? If you like this game and in the community, can you please explain to me how it's created such a cult of personality around one person? So someone else saying, so non-binary B, 250 upvotes. Everyone on Twitter will only see you for who you support in their politics. They don't look deeper. They don't deserve you. You're an amazing human being who's done so much. You're the reason I feel like I belong in the community. I'm so close to finally feeling comfortable in my own skin, and that's thanks to you. You've shaped me as a person. You have a bigger impact on the world than anyone in this community. You have given back to us. You've set up elaborate release dates and have moved mountains to make everything fun for us. So we enjoy all you give. You have single-handedly released 5 Nights at Freddy 2 in almost a year after 1, with amazing models, deep lore, and a rich environment. We will be with you through everything. If you leave now, this amazing series will never be completed. It's up to you. You've survived so much already. I know you can get through this with us. We won't leave you here. So if this person's talking about feeling comfortable being non-binary, and that's because of 5 Nights at Freddy's, I mean, that's fair enough, and you can credit the guy for doing that. You can also recognise that through his political donations, he's enabling politicians who want to make non-binary people's lives a lot worse. So we're going to slowly move on to the comments criticising him and see how those people were treated. So Scott, I'm a Muslim and I respect you as a Christian, 400 upvotes. Now here's one of the first downvoted things, and I agree mainly with this one. So Golden Grod saying, it's fine to separate art from the artist, but you should be aware that he does not respect you as a Muslim. He voted for someone who tried to enact the travel ban specifically targeting Muslims, despite them not being a top security threat to America. I do just like how Scott can just say, I believe science and support LGBT rights, and people believe it. Can Scott explain how Trump helps America's economy? I'd love to hear it. But he won't say it, as it's just an out for further criticism. It is sad his family was harassed, but I don't enjoy him escaping all criticism. Anyone's free to no longer support him due to these beliefs he holds. Sorry, Scott, but to clarify, he does not believe in science. This got minus 70 downvotes. Now, the problem is, this isn't just a guy's political opinions, like I said, and you can separate art from the artist. The main problem is he's embedded himself in this community, which was supposed to be seen as like a safe space for LGBT people, because there's a lot of people in this community who identify as some sort of, group in the LGBT community. So for him to then be exposed as someone who not only believes like very conservative things, that he's actively funneling money to people to make the LGBT community's life worse, like I said, it's just indefensible. It's not people trying to cancel him for being a conservative. It's people trying to point out the hypocrisy of, even the statement, I support science and the LGBT community, but I've given thousands of dollars to people who don't do either. So there's one more comment I want to talk about actually. So someone trying to say that he didn't know these people were against the LGBT community. And this is 270 upvotes. So are we forgetting Scott literally donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to St. Jude's? He wants the best out of everyone. He doesn't care whether you're straight, gay, trans, whatever you are. Scott cares for you and everyone. I 100% think Scott didn't know that they were against the LGBTQ community at the time. He was only donating for the good part of them, not the part removing LGBT rights. This is so ridiculous. Also, this donation was so long ago that Scott probably forgot about donating them. This guy hasn't seemed to read it, that there was only one in the one I read, that was from 2015, the rest were from 2020, so it's literally not even a year ago. I am bisexual, but I know that Scott donated to them, and with good intentions. Scott always has good intentions, and isn't as bad a person. He is an angel. The amount of money he's given away is spectacular. The amount of children he's visited for their final wishes. Why are we looking at something that was done so long ago, and it just goes on, blah, blah, blah. So a guy can do lots of good things, and still do bad things. And just because this person's bisexual doesn't mean you get to say that he didn't know that conservative Christians, just like him, don't support the LGBT community. And these Republicans literally campaign on being against trans people. It's not a secret. It's literally part of their policy. Now let's go on to actual reasonable comments. Some got some upvotes, most of them got downvoted, so minus 30. This is heartbreaking, I'm ashamed of what you've done. The apology was simply not enough. Actively supporting these people, I don't care what you say, it's clear you don't love your LGBT fan base. Gravely disappointed. Someone else, minus 48. So you're unapologetic about not caring for human rights, that's nice to know. You know you spent the money minority fans gave to you on people who made laws against their rights, right? Real cute how all these weirdos will down love any upset person of colour or LGBT person. Anyone's lives who are affected by Scott's personal opinions. So another one, minus 9. You fought a lifelong charlatan fraudster with a history of when it came to sound business decisions, bankrupting several casinos, and thought at selling stakes out of the sharper image, for God's sake. That guy was all people was going to be good for the economy. Quick question though, did you come to regret the decision, or did you double down and vote for him again? By the way, acknowledging and apologising for transgressions is commendable and a sign of positive growth. A flat-out, adamant refusal to do so, even when in the wrong, demonstrates that at a minimum, you seem to be a self-righteous arsehole and likely the type of demands of others that which he could never expect or demand of himself. So you should probably try working on that instead of indulging in this woe is me, I'm so very oppressed and downtrodden, woe, 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 woe is me. So, I agree with that as well. So -9, community clearly don't like that. So a trans person in the community has a really good comment saying, I know you likely won't read this, but as a trans woman who's been told all my life how much I don't deserve to live, I don't deserve to be allowed the same rights as others who are straight and cisgender. You were in the wrong here. I supported Trump at first too, but 6 months into his presidency, I realised how wrong he was. He actively screwed this country over in more ways than one. The LGBT community needs protection and support from people like you who have good lives and aren't oppressed in any way. Every single victory we've gotten was hard fought, and Republicans have not ever had anything good to say about us. The best we can hope from them is they ignore us. Christians are the same. Back when I lived in Texas, I've been approached by supposed Christians telling me how I'm going to hell for the way I am. The way I am makes me happy, helps my mental state, and I actually love my body now that I'm out being trans. You 100% deserve to be cancelled. Sure, eventually, hopefully, we LGBT people can be treated the same as everyone else, but like most black people of old, we're still oppressed, denied medical care in large parts of this country. Continually from Republicans, we are constantly attacked and our rights threatened. I'm sorry you've had to feel a little bit of fear. However, that fear is something we live with every day we step out of our front door. Even though it's not right that people would threaten you, and I would never wish that even on my worst enemy, hopefully the situation gives you some perspective on what we face every day, what a large number of black people, even straight ones, still face every day as well. -9 downvotes. All the ones telling him he's a great guy, this doesn't matter, donating to his politicians doesn't mean anything. Then a trans person in the community who actually voted for Trump tells you why it's bad, and the community downvote it. So one comment like this that actually got some upvotes, surprisingly. Call me immature, whatever, but I can't do this. To financially support these people who actively attempt to remove the rights of people like me, I can't support that. It doesn't matter if you don't agree with them on LGBT issues, you still handed them tens of thousands of dollars to fund their projects. I love everything you've done for us, but it hurts. I wish you and family the best in life, but I can't support this. 162 upvotes. So one of the mods has actually resigned because of all this drama, and they describe themselves as non-binary trans. So Circus Rama says, I'm resigning as mod of this subreddit. Hello, I don't want to make this message too long, so I put it simply. I'm resigning as a moderator of this subreddit. This is my decision. I'm not going to elaborate any further on why, because if I did, it would fall out of bounds of the rules. Shout out to everyone else on the moderator team. You're all awesome, and I love all of you. I'm really sorry for not being as active as usual during these recent days. I don't know if I'll post or comment here again. To everyone else, be kind to each other. Take care, Circus Rama. And then I looked on the subreddit today, and there's a drawing of Scott with some block face. So for it to get that bad that a mod has to resign, and I respect the mod a lot for actually resigning, shows you the way the community is headed. I read you that stuff. You can go check out that thread for yourself. It's like the pinned one, his comment. So you can read all the comments, all these delusional fans saying that who you fund in politics, not even just who you vote, who you fund doesn't represent your real political opinions. And I'm happy so many people spoke out, but just, the fact that they got so many downvotes is so telling. I would say that the transgender people and the gay people in the community, and also, people from minorities in America, would be totally justified in being outraged if this guy just voted for Trump, just simply voted for Trump or voted Republican across local elections. But the fact not only did he do that, he gave them thousands and thousands in donations to pursue their anti-LGBT agenda, their anti-minority agenda, their anti-black agenda, the clear racism they all peddle. And the fact that he did this in 2020, not 2015 when Trump first announced he was running, 2020, when it was proven that Trump did have this anti-trans agenda, I just don't know how you could defend that. And like I said, the difference is this guy embeds himself in the community. He calls them Freddy. He's active in the community. And lots of people have said, thank you for making this welcoming space online. And then to turn around and basically, slap them in the face by donating to people who literally do not want them to exist. And he's trying to justify in his head that he did this because he thinks Trump is better at standing up to his enemies in international relations, and he's better for the economy, when that's clearly not true anyway. But he can see that as a positive while at the same time he can justify that while throwing his fans under the bus and pretending that you can support the LGBT community, you can be anti-racist, and you can be pro-science, but also use your personal wealth you've made off this community, you've made off the LGBT community who support your work and minorities who support your work, and then use their money to fund politicians who will actively, and these politicians have a lot of power, Donald Trump, Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, and they will actively pursue policies to make these people's lives a lot worse and stoke hatred in the country. So even if they don't win the political battle, they will make society a lot worse for these people. Again, this guy just seems like totally awful, and he's so arrogant, and he's acting like, you know, people are trying to hate him because he's a Christian. They're not trying to hate you because you're a white Christian. They're hating on you because you take money from a group of people you pretend to support and then use that money to hurt them. That's why people are mad. Now, the final message is, please do not get invested in a creator so much that if it comes out they're a bad person, you personally will not be able to deal with it. And you'll jump through insane hoops to try and rationalise what they did. So anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you guys play this game? Are you in the community? Let me know what you think. If you want to find me on social media, at The Tabernacle on Twitter and on Instagram, come join our communities on Discord and Reddit. If you want to support my work continuing further, please check out my Patreon. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.